A friend of mine told me about a piece of software that basically turned your computer into an internet radio station. So you could, whatever was on your computer, you could stream to somewhere else. I thought that seemed kind of cool, and it wasn't a big leap for me to say, well, what if, since I still had my Nashville studio, even though I was living in New York, what if I brought in the people that I know and trust and whose work style matches the one I'm used to? Brought them into the Nashville studio, but because I'm a control freak, I didn't want to just let them do their thing and hope it would work out. What if I listened into this internet radio station that I've created from New York? Slowly but surely, I started to build a remote system around this concept of record in Nashville, but monitor the session in real time and in full fidelity from somewhere else. One of the most important things for me, since I cannot be here while these sessions are happening, is my gear has to be 100% reliable, always. If a piece of gear goes down, my arms aren't long enough to reach it. So one of the first things that I know and love about Shure is I can count on it. I can count on it without exception. I've been using Shure stuff since I started my studio. Never once have I had a problem. And that is saying something with studio gear, because there's always a problem with studio gear. My favorites are some of the standards, the 57 that I am using on the snare and the hi-hat. That stuff never goes away. That's the best. I have tried almost every set of headphones in the Shure line as a reliable, nuts and bolts, get it done and sound great set of headphones. The 440s are spectacular. When I want to spoil myself, I use my 1540s to listen back to the mixing I'm working on. The KSM 44, which I use on all my vocals, is flawless. It's uncolored, it's great sounding. There's so many. The 141 that I use on acoustic guitar, I love. A typical session starts like this. By the way, I no longer have an engineer in the Nashville studio. A typical session starts out with me unlocking the studio door in Nashville from Sonoma, turning on the air conditioner or the heat, depending on the time of year, turning on the lights.
Alexa, turn on the booth light.
Turning on the preamps, all remotely, and bringing up the recording session on the Nashville computer, which I am monitoring from my Sonoma, California computer. Everything is on and ready to go. The charts are printed. Everything's ready to roll before the session musicians come in. When they come in, I'm on the talkback. I'm also over the speakers in the room. I welcome everybody to the session. I introduce them to the client, who is more often than not somewhere else in the world. They listen to the song. They check the charts, which I have printed out. I ask if anybody has any questions. If there are no questions, everybody goes to their instrument. I start the session, put it in record, and we're off to the races. When we're done, I thank the musicians. Everybody just sort of puts the dishes in the sink, puts the charts on the desk. I let everybody out, lock the door, turn off the lights, turn off the thermostat, and then I say to the client, I am now going to transfer these files back to me in Sonoma, where I will mix. And then in the next couple of hours, you'll have a rough recording version. Live with your mix. If there are any things you want to get tweaked, I'll tweak those. And that's that. It's a pretty streamlined process these days.